Well, hello again, everybody. Happy Wednesday to those who might just be joining me if you skipped the video covering the activator. What we started yesterday was learning the Pythagorean theorem, and that the Pythagorean theorem is a way of finding the lengths of sides in a right triangle. And this is a theorem that applies only to right triangles. So the Pythagorean theorem basically says in a right triangle, which we know that a triangle is a right triangle because it has the indicator in the corner of a right angle, which measures 90 degrees. So in a right triangle, the square of the hypotenuse, which is C, is equal to the sum, and sum means addition, of the squares of the other two sides. So we have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That is the Pythagorean theorem. And when we look at our characteristics of a right triangle, we've basically started with what is the hypotenuse. So the legs are sides A and B, and then the hypotenuse is side C. And it's always side C, it's always across from the right angle, and it's always going to be your longest side. So what we're doing today is continuing what we were doing yesterday of finding the missing hypotenuse. So the instructions for today's assignment is to find the length of the hypotenuse and to round to the nearest tenth. What makes this assignment a little bit different than yesterday's is half of the problems are going to be in words and the other half are going to be in diagrams. Okay, so if we start with number one, all right, number one says to find the length of the hypotenuse on a right triangle with legs of 5 and 8 inches. All right, so I can just simply draw a model of a right triangle. All right, I'm looking for my hypotenuse, which is side C, and I'm told that one of my sides is 5 and one of my sides is 8. All right, and like I told you yesterday, when we do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, you can choose those lengths to be either side A or B. It doesn't matter, but C is always the hypotenuse. So I'm going to let 8 be 8. So 8 squared plus 5 squared is going to equal C squared. So 8 squared is 8 times 8, which is 64. So please remember that. That's 8 times 8, not 8 times 2. And 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. And all of that equals C squared. So when I add these two numbers together, I get 89 equals C squared. So the next thing that I'm going to do is take the square root of both sides of the equation, because the square root is the inverse operation of the exponent. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So that cancels that out. So I'm left with C equals the square root of 89. So I'm going to come over here to my calculator, and I'm going to type second function key, hit the x squared key, 89, enter. So I have here 9.433981132. So like I said, we are rounding to the 10th position. So I have 9.4, 4 is in my 10th position. I look next door. Is it 5 or more? I add one more. If it's less than 4, we shut the door. So 3 is less than 4. So my answer is simply going to be C equals 9.4. So that there's the answer to number one. C equals 9.4. Now for number two. For number two, I'm given a figure where I have a side that is 4 and a side that is 5. So I need to find my missing side of C. So again, I'll use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So again, I can put either leg side wherever I would like. So I'll have 4 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. So 4 squared means 4 times 4. So that's going to be 16. 5 squared means 5 times 5, which is 25. and I get the answer of c squared. Or all that equals c squared. So 16 plus 25 is 41, which equals c squared. So then I take the square root of both sides, because the square root is the inverse operation of the exponent. It is also the way that I can isolate the variable c by itself. So those cancel out. So I'm left with c equals the square root of 41. So I will come over here to my calculator, press the blue second function key, and then the x squared key. And since I hit the second function key, that gives me the square root function up there. Square root of 41, enter, 6.4031242237. So again, the 4 is in my 10th position. I look next door. Is it 5 or more? It's a 0. It's less than 4, no more than 4, so I shut the door. So that's going to be 6.4. The value of C is 6.4. And you'll notice in this example, as well as the other example, that the longest side as well is your C value. Okay, so go ahead and finish the other 6 by yourself and upload a picture or a scan to Google Classroom when you're done. If you need additional help, I will be up on Google Meet later on today. So have a great day, everybody.